Good afternoon, friends. Hello, and welcome into another edition of Clark After Dark right here, live and direct on RaceON.com. Folks are fired up to be here tonight. Talk about motorsports all over this great country, wherever you may be in this great land, and however you may be listening here tonight, whether that be on Spotify, whether you're watching us on YouTube, whether you're watching us directly on RaceON, or CastBox, iHeart, Apple, it doesn't matter. We appreciate you taking us in, however you may be and however you may be listening here tonight. Again, Day Motorsports podcast number 94. Thank Day Motorsports for everything they do. Always talk about they have all the parts you need from the front to the back bumper and all parts in between. They can get you back on the racetrack, and they have us here talking about motorsports once again here on another beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Big weekend of racing action here in the Arklatex region with the Boot Hill Speedway for the West Grigsby Memorial. Now in the history books. We'll talk about that, of course. Plus, Ricky Thornton Jr. back in Victor Lane with the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series and the Silver Dollar Nationals. He's back, right? Oh, we'll talk about that tonight. Is RTJ really back? Flow Night in America is back tonight as well. They'll also head over to the Fairbury American Legion Speedway for another Flow Racing Night in America event tomorrow night. Super B Speedway and the RaceON All-Star Challenge is canceled. More first-time winners this time with a local second-generational talent out of Arkansas in the 410 sprint car ranks. We'll talk about the big win for Landon Crawley. Also, the 43rd annual Kings Royal at Eldora Speedway is in the history books. We had photo finish in the factory stocks at Boot Hill. Let's get in here and let's chop it all up and talk about it tonight, folks. I'll bring on my awesome co-host of this podcast. He's my man with the plan. He's Cortland Smith, and he joins me now. Cortland, big weekend of racing we just got off of here in the Arklatex, my man. And like I said, the Kings Royal last week, just a lot of great racing. The Lucas Oil Late Models raced for $52,000. Heck, they raced $53,000 for second. Of course, Davenport got that. We'll talk about that here in just a couple of moments. So, man, a great weekend to get in here and talk about motorsports right here in the midpoint of the season. We're in the thick of things, man. And let me tell you, like I talked about the craziest thing I saw last week. I'm going to kick this podcast off today. The craziest thing I saw today, anyway, is, listen, I know we beat the horse dead about, oh, man, it's so damn hot outside. Well, yes, folks, it is hot. Like, we've been living in the South for so long that we should be programmed to it. But, boy, when social media came along, everybody loves to post about damn hot it is. But I will tell you, Cortland, when I woke up today, I took a screenshot, and, buddy, at one point today, the heat index here in Texarkana was a Bill 17. I've had it. Listen, the only 117 I need to be thinking or talking about is old school Wesley Chandler when he used to race with the SUPR late models. He was number 117. I ain't doing it here anymore. But anyway, it's hot, especially when the tongue is hanging out on this little wall AC unit I got right now. We're about to have to upgrade or get a new one, cuz. But anyway, how are you doing on this very, very hot July afternoon?
I'm just glad I'm not sweating right now, my friend, because you hit the nail on the head. It's hot, and I don't think there's anybody that their AC doesn't have their tongue hanging out. But man, like you said, it's that midpoint of the season. It's the dog days of summer, and it kind of is like the crown jewel season gets kicked off right. I feel like we race for a lot of money all year round, but this is really the turning point in the year. The Kings Royal kind of gets rolling. You had the Joker's jackpot. You had a bunch of money given out to Eldora to the wings and things this past weekend. Then you turn around and the late models, they seem like they race for big money all the time, but you roll from Silver Dollar Nationals to PDC to USA to North-South 100 to Topless 100. Then you go to Rumble by the River. Like, it just pounds and it just compounds here at this point in the season. It seems like every single weekend there's either 50,000 plus paydays or $100,000 paydays coming up for all the divisions in the classes. And then, you could look at us regionally, and we have a 5,000 win limited modified race this past weekend, right? So I can't be too mad about a whole lot, other than, like I said, it is hot, but I'm just happy I'm not sweating myself. And I got my nice little old personal fan right here blowing on me, keep me cool during the pod. So we're doing pretty good, my friend.
When y'all have football practice, whenever it's this hot outside, do y'all usually take it indoors, or how do y'all do football practice? Or y'all make sure the kids are extra hydrated and motivated? Because, man, when it's this hot, like, I mean, for real, you really, when it is this hot, you do have to consider, and that's why racetracks push start times back, at 8 o'clock when it's this, we're in the dog days of summer. But yeah, how do y'all kind of go about that, in football practice?
So we try to keep them. We try to keep them cool. We practice from 8 to about 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? Or I say 10:30, 11. Like, we try to get out of there by 10. And like by the time I leave, it might be 10:30 or 11, right? But about 8 to 10 in the morning before it gets too hot, right? But you can tell this past week when we roll out there, that 8 o'clock temperature is hitting different. You know what I mean? Like, you could tell at 8 o'clock that it's going to be a hot one, and by about 10, they got their tongues hanging out as well. So you just try to keep them hydrated, make sure they got plenty of chances to take a break, right? Like we don't have no indoor facility. We ain't that lucky, but just a little 2A high school football. The weight room does have a pretty good AC unit, so you can kind of get cooled off in there. And we go in there, but if we do anything out on the field, our little water station does have a little overhang to it, so they can kind of go get in the shade for a minute and get a shot of water and at least cool their internal temperatures, as you'd like to say, or as I'd like to say, go cool your internal temperatures and get some cold water in your system and try to keep your body from overheating. So that's our game plan. You try to do 8 to 10, and will it kick you in the rump at some point? Yeah, because when fall camp starts and you get into school, it's still going to be hot, and you got to practice after school, right? So you gotta find your ways, but you just try to make sure they stay hydrated. But like teenage boys, someone can be hard-headed and don't like to drink a whole lot of water. They rather sit there and drink sodas or whatever it may be. So you can tell the ones that don't take care of themselves. So it's a whole team aspect. We try to do what we can, but you also, as an athlete yourself, you got to take care of your body. So
I wish I'd have grabbed my Ozarka and had it right here on my little bench so I could have something to drink throughout the podcast.
We're full of water right here.
Next time you get long-winded or get to talking here, I might hop up and grab my water because I threw it in the freezer so it'd be extra cold for me. Ozarka, by the way, is the best water on the market. And you might shake your head at that because the other night when Miss Carolyn gave, I said, Ozarka's the best water. And you kind of looked at me funny like, water's water, bud. But I will tell you that Ozarka is the best. The sparkling water right out of the springs there. I like it. Ozarka's the best.
I'm telling you, the best water you'll ever have is when it comes out that old water hose, cuz. And then there gonna be a lot of old heads that are sitting there. Like I'm telling you, that water out the old water hose when you've been outside playing all day or even at practice. Shoot, there's been many times I'd be out there practicing and I wouldn't go to the water station. No, I went straight to the water hose I had on the other side of the field house, cuz I turned that thing wide open and just let her have it. Right?
Tastes like pennies.
Oh, hey, it's good. Good copper. Good copper
good
for your
copper,
system.
yeah.
They got copper fit armbands and stuff. Supposed to be good for your body. I didn't care. Shoot, it was the highest water pressure we had.
I'm going to let you have it this week because last week you said, dude, I'm about to start putting you on a cap on the numbers, right? So last week on the 93s. So I'm going to let you do it tonight. I'm going to let you give me your 94s first, and I'm going to pick around what you don't have because 94 is like, it's a prevalent number, but not necessarily so much here in the South. There's been certainly some 94s that have raced, but there'll be some drivers I'll have to give you some background on that you may not be too familiar with. So who do you have for 94? I feel like I know you're going to go with a super late model driver out of Missouri, perhaps. But we'll see. Just how well do I know you? That's what I want to know. How well do I know Cortland Smith? I'm going to throw it to you now. What do you got for 94s here on episode 94, Clark After Dark?
You know CS pretty well out of Sykeston, Missouri, man, Austin Reddick. And the reason I go with him, because in 2017, the 17-year-old Cortland sitting up there at the Topless 100 on a Sunday day race, and we are sweating our heinies off up there. Me and my boy Darty, we had to actually go buy T-shirts from a T-shirt trailer just to have because we pack light on those trips. Dad would always fuss at me if I packed too many clothes, or he'd actually wouldn't let my mom is an extraordinary packer. I'm just going to say that much. If you're going on a trip for 2 days, she's got everything you need for like 6 weeks. All right. So Dad made sure when we left on a boys trip, you had the amount of clothes you need, and that was it. Well, rain out Saturday, race Sunday. We got to go buy T-shirts from a T-shirt stand, and then we go to Walmart, get some cool rags on our head. But we're sitting up there watching the Topless 100, and this Austin Reddick drives to the lead. He pitted, I believe he pitted early, got a tire, but drives to the lead and leads a couple laps at the Topless 100, right? So doesn't race super late models a whole lot no more. I know he's got a modified chassis business. I should have looked up what the name of it was. Beast Mod, that's it. I was going to say Beast Mode, but that's Marshawn Lynch eating some Skittles, so I was going to hold off on that. But Beast Mod, Austin Reddick, man, I wish he'd get back super racing. Like he was
a good one.
He was definitely, yeah, he was a good one. In that Missouri area, he'd come and run Comp Cams races, whatever it may be that rolled into our area. I'm not saying he was there every single time, but he'd show up and show out every so often. And then my other 94, I'm leaving you some on the plate, my friend, so you can still nibble on some. But I'm going straight. We talked a couple episodes ago. I had a die cast, and if I didn't have all my stuff up in boxes, Bill Elliott ran a 94 from 1995 to 2000. Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. So I'm gonna give a shout out to Bill Elliott. I know you're normally the one that takes the NASCAR route at the end and kind of wrap it all up. So I'm gonna go ahead.
I found this old picture, but I pulled it out because I thought that this was the Bill Elliott back, but it's a 27 McDonald's car back there. But I don't know if that's, but there's a McDonald's 15 on that. That looks like an IMCA modified. I think that was in the parking lot. And I'll be honest with you folks, as I show you this, I don't know who the hell that kid is. I was for some reason trying to think that was me, and I looked at it closer. That's not your boy ZC. So I don't know what kind of random kid I have pictures of in front of an IMCA modified in circa 1998. I would imagine that was the year of that. But anyway, yeah, it's pretty crazy stuff there. But I was thinking maybe that was Ronnie Humphrey's car or something. I don't know. I have to message
Yeah.
Ronnie that picture, but man, he always has had really, really good looking cars, and he's a show car guy, right? So I wonder how many times he raced that. He raced it a little bit more back then. I'm not picking on you, Ronnie. I know now he's got more show car. He actually has that number 43 U.S. Air Force car that's street legal now. He said he got Troop G that has approved it, and they're coming, and he's going to get to run that thing on the roads. It has a passenger seat. I don't know. Maybe he'll come pick me up, and we can do an episode of Clark After Dark in it. I don't know. We're getting out of hand here. But yeah, Bill Elliott in the 94, man, those were good times of that McDonald's car. I want to bring you back, all right? So I'm going to show you another picture. I dig into some stuff, okay? I grew up at Webster Speedway, and in between 1993 and 1996 at Webster Speedway, which formerly known as Champion Park, the Walkers bought it in 2001 and renamed it Champion Park, and they ran until 2011. Well, when I was growing up there used to be a number 94 dwarf car by the name of Stephen Chevalier from Downsville, Louisiana. And he ended up going off and he raced ASCS sprint cars at some point before I ever started my announcing career around here. And I will never forget the battles that him and this guy had. Yes, it's not the 96, but I have a 14 picture of a dwarf car, and he autographed it for me when I was a kid, and his name was Joe Murray. Joe Murray, look at that number 14 dwarf car. Him and Stephen Chevalier. And if anybody listened to this podcast that went to Webster or Champion Park back in the 90s, Jeff Lewis probably listened to this. He'll know what I'm talking about. You'll remember Joe Murray and the battles that him and Stephen Chevalier had. I'm telling you, I was a huge fan of both of those drivers. They got it on in the dwarf cars. That there was no doubt. Also, the number 94 car, Sean Graham drove this car a few times and won some factory stock features in it, I think back in 2017, maybe 18. But a number 94 car, Jonathan Jones, I think he was from Houghton, actually, my hometown, drove this number 94 car in the factory stock rings here locally. Of course, we got the handyman, Chris Morris, right? Number 94, blue, the paraplegic. Maybe we'll see him with the ARM Series this weekend at the Rocket Raceway Park. And I got another good one for you. This is another local guy. He used to own Boot Hill Speedway, ran it from 2008 to 2010. My man, Kenny Crawford, used to drive a number 94. That was the year he started racing. Kenny Crawford, man, that's a guy I grew up and watched race. Kenny and he ended up being the flagman at Arclitech Speedway for over 13 years there. So, man, a lot of the races that I announced alongside Bill Kitchen at Arclitech, Kenny Crawford was the man up in the flag stand. So we go way back, right? We've done a lot of these races. Me, Herb, Bill, and of course, Jill Shannon. Man, we were a pretty lethal duo. Man, we had a ton of fun over the years over there at the Vivian, Louisiana Oval. So shout out to Kenny Crawford. He used to drive a number 94 street stock back in the day. He also had another one. They ended up buying the Canterbury car. Or he bought that car from the Canterburys, I believe, and put the 94 on it. At one time, it was the F-16, and that was one of the baddest, fastest cars that ever got around Champion Park in the street stocks. And finally, I don't think that's all I got. Yeah, that's all I got. But I did want to mention, as you talked about Sykes and Missouri's Austin Reggie, you remember he got on a really good roll. He actually came and won a Comp Cam Super Dirt Series feature at Arclitex. I think that was back in 2017 as well. But yeah, man, he was a really good racer. He ran the Mod War 100 with us at Heart of Texas 2 years ago. But yeah, we haven't seen him much around here in the South, but I'd love to see maybe he pop into that Beast Mod at some point in the future. But that's the 94s we have tonight for you, ladies and gentlemen. What do you want to start off with tonight, Cortland? Because we could go here, we could go there. We could start off with the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series at Shelby County. We could talk about this photo finish and the factory stocks at Boot Hill that had everybody puzzled on social media. Maybe not everybody was puzzled, but everybody seemed to have an opinion on it. And everybody seemed pretty like they thought 36J had it, and maybe the 125 got robbed. I don't know. We're not here to beat the horse dead on that. What I want to talk about is what a phenomenal race that was. Of course, we got the King's Royal. There's so much to talk about tonight and so many things. So let's just talk about this photo finish. Why not? I hate to tease y'all here, but this photo finish, Friday night at Boot Hill, one of the top 3 closest finishes I have personally ever called from the press box, right? I told people after the races that it brought me back to that photo finish at Arclitex between Kerry Eason and Doug Vick Jr., which was one of the closest finishes I've ever seen. That was prior to transponders, right? Prior to transponders. So kind of worked out. It kind of brought me back a little bit. Like, I just want to say, like, as a fan, like most people have already seen the video by now and the result of the race and seen Mark was deemed the winner. I just want to say, and I told a couple other people this, as an announcer, it would be very silly of me to make a definite call right there when it's that close at the line, right? Because then if what you announce is different, than what the actual official result is, then that makes you look bad and it makes the track look bad as well. But I will say this also, when they came off of turn number 4, Cortland, I truly couldn't call it. It was that close in my eyes. When a finish is that close, there's no sense in saying, Mark Underwood Jr., your winner tonight, even by half a cat's whisker. Because if it comes back that he didn't win, you look like a dummy. It's just better to not say anything. And it also is good to have transponders to go back to in that scenario in which we did not have. That muddied the waters tremendously in this situation, right? Like social media seemed to think 36J had it as well. Again, it's a very tough call to make on the fly in real time. And like people ask me what I think, right? Like, what did I think? Unbiased. I'm like, well, first of all, I don't even have to separate my bias because I could care less who wins these races, right? Like, I really don't. So I don't have to separate bias here. I think this is what I think. And like, I think that I don't necessarily say we lost sight of it, but just everybody's ready for that gotcha moment on social media. 36J won the race. Well, yeah, I mean, that's your opinion. That wasn't what the call was. And I get it. I think even Justin thinks he won the race. Hell, Mark Underwood Jr. down there when I interviewed him said, I think maybe 36J may have got it. But he still wasn't sure, and he was happy to be in Day Motorsports Victor Lane. But I think the worst part of all this is the fact that we've lost sight of what a badass race that was. Like, what a race. And so much respect, so much sportsmanship shown by 2 former King of the Hills, just throwing them over their shoulder and putting on a show for the fans. And listen, the worst part about all this is the exact reason that we run transponders, Cortland. And when they aren't working to serve their purpose, like I said, it certainly muddies the waters, right? Like, I called races for years without having transponders. And I got to tell you, now after having them for a while now, like several years here, like, you realize how spoiled you are when you don't have them working. So that's that. Mark Underwood Jr. wins your USRA factory stock feature on Friday by literally this much, folks. Like, can you see this much? It wasn't much at all. Like, it really was truly the closest factory stock finish I've called since that Kerry Easton Doug Vick Jr. race. What was your kind of take on it, man? Like, what a race and what a finish and what respect was shown between those top 2 guys.
I believe you kind of wrapped it up there very well there. We lost sight of how good of a race it actually was, right? And like I joked with people, they're talking about it, this, that, and the other. And I said, in 20 years from now, like Mark Underwood Jr. and Justin Whitehead aren't going to talk about winning a Friday night prelim at the West Grigsby Memorial for $500. They're going to talk about all their other wins that they like. Well, I mean, they might, but like, let's just like, I mean, Mark Underwood Jr. is one of the king of the hill. Whenever he's sitting up in his lawn chair as a grandpa one day or shows up to the racetrack, he's going to be like, I won that king of the hill. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't saying winning the Friday night of the West Grigsby in the factory stocks ain't a big deal, but we lost sight of the idea of what a phenomenal race, and that is why week in and week out we pump up the factory stocks, right? I mean, it was such respect, such class between both of them. You know, I mean, you can't ask for much more. And like you mentioned it, like you do get spoiled with the transponder systems. And when you don't have it, it's not just this here everywhere. Like, it makes everybody's job more difficult. So all I got to say is that if you think that you can score a race better, this, that, and the other, hey, cuz there's many racetracks that'll take a plenty of hand scores any given weekend. And I promise you can go up there, and since everybody knows so much better, you can go work for free. You know, I mean, like, if you got it figured out, you can go show everybody how it's done one time. And I mean, that's me being a little bit lighthearted here and a little bit serious, because there's some people that got pure D spun out about it. And it's like, dude, just back her down a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, it's I understand nobody wants to be robbed of a win, especially when it comes down to like that. You know, I made the joke that they're not going to be talking about it 20 years. Heck, they might be. Who knows? But it's just one of them deals, man. We lost sight of what a great race it was. What respect was shown between 2 of the elites in the factory stock class, right? And 2 of the elites that come out of our area and race. So what a great race. Like I said, we pump them up week in and week out, and they deliver. And then you turn around on Saturday and we got another Donnybrook special here at the finish, right, between Little Henny and Josh Martin. So, I mean, it was the West Grigsby Memorial, the Living Modified race was good, but factory stocks still show why they're the factory stocks, right?
But, man, listen, like, the whole thing of bringing this up as well to talk about the race was how great that factory stock race was. We'll get into the limiteds and Derek Grigsby obviously winning the West Grigsby and how special that was for him and the entire Grigsby family. It was truly awesome to see, man. It was a spectacle to see how many people were there supporting the 69 camp. It was cool to see. But, man, I talk about this a lot on this podcast, right? Because I've had people come on social media and try to chastise what the announcer said. Or, listen, hindsight is always 20/20 in these things. I I ask anybody, which, hey, I'm looking for any photo finish I can get, and we would hope that the transponders work next time. I'm always
Yeah.
like, those are the kind of races that ZC lives for. That's what I want. I want that every single weekend. It's hard to get that every single weekend. So when you get it and the transponders ain't working, it sucks. It does, because you don't want to be in that scenario. I don't envy anybody who has to make that call. And to kind of allude to what you just said, that I challenge anybody. You can come up, you can take the microphone out of my hand, and you can sit there and make that call on the fly as they come off of turn number 4 in real time. I want to see how well you could do it. And I'm not saying I did a good or a bad job. I'm just saying that when it is happening in real time, and all these comments on social media, 36 J's your winner, 36 J's your winner. I saw very few 125s on there. Everybody that is saying, it's clear as day. It's not. Can we stop?
No.
Y'all got to stop. It wasn't that clear. Hindsight is what I'm talking about. Hindsight is always 20/20 in this situation. You saw that after the fact, but in real time, I invite you to go up there and make that call as the race director, or even in my position or yours. It's tough. It is tough every single time. And listen, we want to have it right. Like, nobody wants to rob anybody of a win. And they made the call that they made, and you know what? It is what it is. It's over and done with now. It's in the past. And I think that what we'll look back and remember on this is what a flawless finish. And I talked to Justin Whitehead in the pits. Excuse me. I have a little feedback going on in my ear here. So if I step on myself or it sounds like I'm having a stroke, it's not intentional. I'm hearing my voice, and it's got a little bit of a lag in it, just a little bit there. So, and my heart's about to take me a completely different direction, because I don't want to make a joke about a stroke or anything, because I know people listen to this podcast, and it's very heat outside. And I'm not to sound soft, but one of the other driver, Big Sexy Brentley Smith, the 7S, Miss Stevens, she's been to the hospital. She had a stroke recently, so I'm not trying to make a joke about anything like that. Like, I got, my heart wouldn't allow me to do that, so I just wanted to correct that anyway. But yeah, I wanted to mention them. They've been going through a tough time, so. Hopefully we can see the 7S and Brentley back behind the wheel here pretty soon. Thoughts and prayers goes out to the Stevens family for everything they've been going through. Been in the hospital the last couple of weeks. I'll try to give you guys an update next week on that, as I don't have a ton of information right here just dropped, but it was on my heart, so I did want to mention it here. So, man, into Saturday night at Boot Hill, right? 69. Derek Grigsby wins the West Grigsby Memorial, and boy, before we just jump off deep into the Friday, let's just talk about Friday and how racy it was. The passing point heat races, the 2 rounds, man, the racing was just so good. The Friday night passing point heats were lit. And then I guess, into Saturday, Derek did drive a great race. Like, he was calculated, and he was just calm all weekend, right? If you talk to Derek at any point, he just had his calm demeanor about him. And he had said to me, and I mentioned it in his Victor Lane interview, how he was just going to try to approach this like any other race. And he said in Victor Lane that it's not any other race, right? And he was really, you could just kind of see the relief from him, right? He really, really wanted to win that race for his father. And Wes was looking down really proud. Derek got out, smashed the Coors Lights in his hand, and yeah, it was a pretty cool moment there for him. And like, one thing he said in that interview, he's like, all these people, man, like, he was just kind of being overcome with the emotion. And I've learned, like, I've gotten Derek emotional a lot. He's gonna laugh at this when he hears this right now. I've gotten Derek emotional a lot in Victor Lane over the years, and that's not ever really been my goal. But in this scenario, how heavy his heart was for his dad, I knew better than to jump in there, Cortland, and to ask him something that's going to immediately make him up. So, like, I don't know if you noticed, but when I just talked to him about the race, and he was still down there on the verge of tears. So I know better as an announcer to ask him anything that's going to really make him lose. And I know sometimes that's what we want, but we got emotion out of him anyway. Like, you could really, really see how much that win meant to him on Saturday night, man.
Everything finally lined up for the 69. From heartbreak last year, sometimes you got to take the tough losses before you get the big one, right? And that's exactly what we got. And I can only imagine his feeling. I mean, that is something that, ever since they probably started the West Grigsby Memorial, I'm not saying that you sit there and dream about it at night, but anytime you get there, you talk about it, think about it, you imagine yourself in that moment and winning it. And he went out there and done it. And then not just for him, the family, everybody around them, the people in the grandstands, a lot of people sitting up there cheering in the grandstands that maybe weren't family, but have been friends and supporters, that people maybe saw that people that watched West race back in the day and then saw Derek come up and knows how much it meant in that moment for him. And they maybe never even really talked to him outside of just going to the racetrack and being fans, right? So really cool for him to turn out. And man, he got out front, got out in the lead, and you're sitting there thinking, like, Is it going to happen again? And I mean, the 69 did what 69 does at Boot Hill, right? He kind of got off that top side of 3 and 4 that was really, really tricky, and found a little bit better line, about a groove and a half, about a half a groove off the cushion, you can say. And he done it, man. And I'm pumped up for him. I didn't get to go talk to him on Saturday after the races. It was late, and I was ready to be southbound and down. But I'm so ecstatic for Derek and them, man. You know, Paul, everybody, like you said, get out, smash the cold beers there. It was just it's a moment that we can sit here and try to describe in words, and you'll never be able to match what that moment meant to him, the family, the race fans, and that whole situation, man. That's what racing is. It's the stories, it's the things like this, and that's what we love racing. And I was really happy for him to be able to pull it off.
Yeah, because think about last year in this thing. I mean, literally, he's leading this race with less than 4 laps to go, and he flips in turn 2. And all the same people that were there cheering him on Saturday remembered experiencing that a year ago.
Yeah.
And just think about Derek and his mindset in that. And he feels as if he let everybody down by not finishing it off, right? But to come back 1 year later and to finish it off with everybody there again, like I was listen, man, like, we're not biased on this thing, but I was really proud of him to see that, because he drove a really, really good race, right? He's kind of been snake bit a lot of times over the last 10 years in these bigger money races. Sure, he's won a lot of them. I mean, he's won some big races. He's won at TMS Dirt Track. He's won the Tootsie. He's won a lot of big races in his career. But this one, like I said to him, that this one probably means as much in your heart as any of them. And he said, it sure does, you know. So, and I'll tell you another thing that I really enjoyed seeing. I don't know if you guys will go back on the RaceON broadcast, just go to the end of the victory lane to when I get done interviewing Derek. And y'all just watch how happy Jason Ingles is entering the picture to come around and celebrate with Derek. Like, Derek has been in an IRP race car for over 10 years now, right? He has had a lot of success in IRP race cars. Him and Jason are very close, obviously. I mean, heck, Derek drove Doug Ingles' super late model one night, you know, when the SUPR late models were there. So he's had a very great relationship with the Ingles family. But just to see how happy Jason was, right? He was the higher gun driving Jared Wallace's 54X car. But, man, he was just so classy as always, right? As Jason Ingles has always been. And like I said down there, man, right? I think you would agree. It ain't a big limited modified show without Jason Ingles in it, right? It's always good when Racing Jason is in the house. And he ran a flawless race. Derek was just the one to beat.
Dude, I mean, they're in the late stages. We had that late caution, and Jason's kind of rolling that bottom. I'm sitting there thinking, like, Jason might be able to pull it off. Like, in all honesty, and like you said, it's not a big limited modified race without Mr. IRP in the house, right? Like, you can't have a limited modified race and Jason Ingles and Shane Hebert not be there. Like, those are just two guys that just got to be there, right? So, you know, you talk about him finishing second. Mark Underwood Jr., I mean, led laps early on, had the second best weekend of the weekend, right? High Point, man, I know he didn't finish second, but like, when you look at the big picture overall weekend, like, High Point, man, leads laps, finishes third. I mean, when you finish third behind 69 and Mr. Jason Ingles, I mean, you can't be mad about that. Like, the 99 junior camp was fast all weekend. They showed a lot of speed. When early on, man, you're sitting there thinking, like, we're about to see some absolute elbows get thrown between the 99 junior and 69. And I'm not saying like that there wouldn't have been respect being shown. I'm just saying some sliders would have been inbound, like, if they'd have really got to racing hard. That's, you know, and they did race hard. Like, it was a really good race. I mean, I just want to talk about the top three. TJ Bond wasn't even in the pit area Friday night, starts in the tail of a B main, drives his way through the B main, I think finished sixth in that deal, and then passes 12 cars to finish fourth on Saturday.
Impressive.
Like, shout out 12 camp. Like, go ahead, say it, Zach. Say the Bond right.
The name is
go ahead
Bond.
and hit him with it.
TJ Bond.
I mean, dude, come on. Like, I mean, yeah. I'm pretty pumped up for it. Like, that's a heck of a weekend. Then Dustin Robinson, who wins the B main, gets DQ'd for deck height, buys his way in, and then he drives all the way up 20 spots to finish fifth, right? So it was, when you look at that top five, that kind of really tells the weekend, like, for almost the whole race, right? Like, I know there was 50 entries in there, but when you kind of look at it, that was kind of like what you expected from it. You're going to have your comers and goers. Did anybody expect the dude to show up on Saturday, start the tail of a B main and finish fourth? Probably not. I wouldn't have had that on my bingo card, but Mr. Bond said so, right? Dustin Robinson, who we expected to be a factor, sadly, my boy Steve Bogus catches him sleeping over there in the tech shed, you know what I mean? And he has to drive his way from the tail back up. But, you know, when you look at that top five, it's a really interesting top five. It is a very good top five. And that kind of just told you what kind of weekend it was. And when you got two guys that finish in the top five, one passed 12 cars and the other passed 20 cars, you had your pretty good racetrack. We might say the racetrack was a little bit better on Friday night, but Saturday you still had a pretty good, my friend.
Absolutely. Yeah. The track was really, really good all weekend. And when the temperature is this high outside, and also consider the fact that the racetrack did get over 2 inches of rain on Wednesday as well. There was a lot of standing water in the infield. Obviously, it evaporated pretty quickly with the hot sun down in Greenwood, Louisiana. But Bubba and Rella did a phenomenal job at the racetrack. That's something that the racers have been able to hang their hat on, that when they come to Greenwood, they know they're going to get a good racy racetrack to, wage the war for whatever money they're competing on that night, and whatever division they race in. So that is something that we take pride in, or that they take pride in. I hate to say we, because I don't do anything on track prep. I just say we as a team at Boot Hill Speedway, right? We are all a team, and we work hard to provide good shows. And, I'd have loved to see a few more people in the grandstands there on Friday and Saturday, but considering it is 100-plus degrees outside, like the crowd we had Saturday wasn't a disappointment, but it wasn't bad either. Like it wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It wasn't a disappointment. I know that we could get more when maybe it's not as hot outside, but nonetheless, it was still a solid turnout. And man, I thank everybody that came and supported us at the Greenwood Oval this weekend. Finally, man, like you said, you mentioned it a few moments ago. I do want to talk about it because it's deserving. Your inaugural $30,000 Factory Stock Spring Nationals winner, Dustin Hennigan, steals one from Josh Martin. Like, truly, Josh Martin had taken the white flag and was hustling into one with nearly a whole straightaway advantage in the Force Chassis 88M, and a caution flag comes out. The RKT Signs and Designs caution flag comes out, and he raced, which, you would guess in your head was probably about a 2.7-second lead. Transponders weren't working, but I've caught a lot of races. I can equate the eyeball and what time looks like. It was about 2.7. We're just going to say it's about 2 points. Martin had him covered, did he not? Like, he had him covered. Him covered. If the caution note comes out, Josh Martin's going to Day Motorsports Victory Lane. But hey, that's why they run the full distance. He didn't make it around to see the checkered. Man, I was kind of heartbroken for him, like, because he has been so good this year. But Dustin Hennigan just restarted that Cadillac chassis down there in the moisture and was able to get a good run, diving off of 4 into 1. And was able to time up a slide job on Josh Martin. He crossed him back. They made contact coming off of 4 to the white flag, getting back into 1, and Hennigan ended up getting the advantage, and Martin finished second. But yeah, I mean, a heartbreak for Josh. He posted on social media like, we dominated for 19 3/4 lap tonight. Caution came out, and we got our ass kicked by Dustin Hennigan. That's basically what he said. But like you said, it was another phenomenal factory stock race as we get tuned up August 28th and 29th for the 11th running of the 10,000 win King of the Hill. But yeah, factory stocks delivered as always. Just to put a cap on all the results, and I'll let you add anything on it as well. Josh Warren swept. I brought him a broom to Victory Lane. Cody Tupper swept. I forgot to bring his broom to Victory Lane. Cody, I'm sorry. I'll do better next time. Miss Carolyn was up there sweeping, and I didn't want to take her broom back. David Fosbury and Cameron Ferg won the other Sportster features. But yeah, man, good racing at the Hill all weekend long, and that factory stock thriller from Manila.
I just want to, as we put a bow on Boot Hill Speedway, I just want to give a shout out to my boy Connor Cook. 2 second place finishes, one behind Cameron Furr and the other behind Josh Warren. And those aren't two guys that you want to that you could really. I know you don't want to run second, but you run second behind Cameron Furr and Josh Warren on the weekend. Connor Cook, good job, young man. Your speed was seen up here by CS. So I'm gonna give you a shout out there. That was a guy that had a well-deserved weekend. 2 second place finishes. You got to mention them at some point, Zach. I mean, yeah, that's exactly like you said. That's why you got me here to pick up on the slack sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Connor Cook did have an impressive run in that old school cool Camaro number 22 car. But yeah, that's a wrap on Boot Hill Speedway. Of course, the World of Outlaws are coming here October 2nd to the 3rd, so y'all be sure to throw that on your agenda as well. A lot of great things coming up and a lot of things to get excited about still here despite all the rain we got in the first half of this 2026 campaign. So a lot of good races to go yet, and we're happy to talk about them here on Clark After Dark. The Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series was at Shelby County. They had the Go 50 there on Wednesday or Thursday night.
Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday night. Yeah, boy. I wish we'd have been able to, because, man, we always talk about news moves very fast in this sport, right? Like, we record this podcast, and there's already been a race that happened tonight at Lincoln with Flow Racing Night in America. Brandon Shepard got the win. But they raced for $52,000 on Saturday night for the Silver Dollar Nationals after they raced the Go 50 there on Thursday, like you said. And, man, Ryan Gustin and Devin Moran had one of the best races you'll see anywhere all season long. It was phenomenal. But Brandon Shepard snuck by him late around the bottom to win the race. And, man, after the race, Devin makes this Facebook post saying he got ran over twice. And, guys, I know that this happened last week, and we moved on, and we're past it. And I think everybody in Lucas has probably moved past it. I'm sure Ryan and Devin moved past it. I was kind of shocked because I left a comment on his post. I don't know what's gotten into ZC lately. I've just been firing out comments on social media like I'm just some wild fanboy. I don't know what's gotten into me. But it got 137 likes on it, so I must have been okay with what I said. But I commented on Devin's post. I said, can't we just chalk it up to badass racing instead? Because that's what it was. Like, neither one of you guys used each other up to the degree that y'all couldn't finish. Y'all finished third and fourth respectively. Y'all just got the racing hard, and Shepard snuck by you and you got beat. But like, let's not sit here and act like we just beat the fenders off of each other. Like, I was a little disappointed in Devin and his post-race analysis that night. Now, again, like we always say on this podcast, Cortland, you aren't driving the race car. I'm not driving the race car. We didn't see what he saw from his perspective. You and I both went back and watched this race just to see what he may have been alluding to. And even on the second go-around, I didn't really see what we're talking about. But again, I'm not the one in the race car. But anyway, Gustin and Moran waged war. Shepard won the Go 50. And what a Donnybrook. That's one of the best races you'll ever see.
Another situation where we're more worried about something else than talking about how good of a race it was, right? Like one of the absolute, I mean, I can't tell you how many people walking through Boot Hill on Friday, they're like, did you watch that late model race on Thursday? Did you watch that late model race last night? And I almost want to tell them like, hey, I don't know if y'all listen to Clark After Dark, but if you ever seen your boy CS, like I promise you, I ain't missing a dirt late model race. And if I miss it, I'll watch it the next morning. Okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and let everybody know your boy has seen them all before you see me in the public the next time. But I mean, that's fun. You know, I'd say that jokingly because of how good of a race it was. I mean, Moran goes in there like, I know Devin might have been mad because there was contact at some point, but Devin goes in there and throws a couple of them sliders that if Gustin wanted to, like, I mean,
he could have Dillard.
I wasn't driving it. I mean, like, it could have been one of them situations. It could have been, my friend. It could have exactly been one of them situations. But who knows? All of it, at the end of the day, a phenomenal race. Shepard comes by. Gustin Moran, they're having their tizzy out there, whatever they want to call it and chalk it up to. And Shepard goes by and sneaks them around the bottom and wins it. And yeah, that was just an absolute spectacular race. I mean, when I got at least, I'm telling you, Zach, I kid you not, when I walked through Boot Hill on Friday, I had 15 people ask me if I watched a late model race last night. And I'm like, yeah. And that right there tells me how good of a race it was. Like that, like it was a race and a half, ladies and gentlemen. The Go 50 was sitting on G waiting on O. I mean, it was get it on, and it was a good one.
Which is wild to consider because the heat races were less than desirable, right? They did a lot of track prep.
Terrible.
We had to sit around and wait a while for the feature to start. Like they ran a lot later than they really originally anticipated because the track wasn't what Joe Kosiski wanted. Like Shelby County was just a little strange to start off the night, and the heat races were all around the bottom. Dude, Matt Davenport missed the show on Thursday due to the fact that the track was just so strange. And if you didn't qualify well on it, you didn't put yourself up in a transfer spot and position, and he doesn't have a provisional. Man, this feedback is getting me. The provisional. Anyway, provisional land, he didn't have one of those to fall back on, unfortunately, for the 49. However, Saturday night or we can go to Friday. Silver Dollar Nationals has, of course, the two rounds of passing point heats, just like we did at Boot Hill this week, which is awesome. I love watching the late models line up, no qualifying, and seeing what you got. And that, to me, I know the late model drivers don't like it, but that proved to me that they can do it without much carnage. If you give them a good, wide, racy track, did you go back and watch the heat races? I told you they were good.
Yes.
They were worth going back to watch. And shout out to Shreveport, Louisiana's Clay Stuckey being 6th in passing points. And dude earned a top 10 in the Silver Dollar Nationals. I couldn't be any prouder of Clay Stuckey for his performance there. But again, the Silver Dollar Nationals on Saturday night. Ricky Thornton Jr. wins $52,000. Jonathan Davenport wins $53,000 for second. Bobby Pierce had second in the bag late, and Davenport found just a little bit of a sliver. The racetrack was not what they wanted. I don't know what happened Saturday night. The racetrack just never really came around like any of the Lucas Oil officials or any of the track prep crew or any of the fans had hoped after what they delivered on the Go 50 on Thursday. So everybody is like, after this awesome race Thursday, like, dude, the Silver Dollar Nationals is going to be a banger. And man, it just never really delivered. And that's racing, right? Like, you're never guaranteed anything in this sport. Sometimes you get tracks that are better than others, but I promise you that's not what Joe Kosiski wanted with the actual racetrack at Shelby County. But either way it goes, Ricky Thornton Jr. won $52,000. Bobby Pierce gets snookered by Davenport late, and Pierce said it in his interview. He said, yeah, he said, I thought we had second pretty well in the bag. He said, yeah, that sucks. He just said that sucks because he just lost like $38,000. You do the math, it was $15,000 for third. So yeah, it was quite the discrepancy between second and third place there. But dude, Ricky Thornton Jr. wins, and then he has a strong run tonight at Lincoln with the Flow Racing Night in America. Is RTJ back, or did he just qualify really well with the passing when heats and put himself up front on a racetrack that didn't conduce much passing? Or, I mean, I don't know. Ricky looked much better tonight, too. Are the vibes back? Is the Kohler Motorsports 20RT camp about to be seeing Victor Lane a lot more frequently like he used to?
I was going to make the joke last week that 20RT was washed. You know what I mean? Like 20RT's done for. Like I was just going to make, I was going to make the joke like he's washed. Like he's struggling. Like he on that struggle bus. But all it takes is a weekend like he had. He wasn't that great on Thursday, but you're on them double passing point heat races, and he was. I mean, he was the best of the field. He earns the most passing points, starts on the pole, and then you go win you $52,000. And I'm not saying Ricky Thornton Jr. needs to go add no crown jewel to add to his resume to make him feel any better. But in this sport that we live in and that we love and we pay attention to, like it's so much, what are you doing right now in the present? Nobody cares about what you did in the past. Like it is, what are these results week in and week out? And right now, like the past couple of weeks, I promise you in the beginning of the year, the 20RT will be the first ones to tell you, like, that's not the results they wanted. That's not what all these sponsors and everybody that jumped on board, like, that's not what they wanted to see or expect out of this camp. And once you win that first one, or I say the first one, he's got wins on the year. Just they haven't been as much as the 20RT has been accustomed to the last couple of years. Let me say that. And once you win $52,000 and get that crown jewel and kind of get a little bit of weight lifted off your shoulders, and you kind of go in there a little bit loosey-goosey, and he ain't necessarily – I'm not saying Kohler Motorsports is about to fire him, but at the end of the day, you don't feel as too bad. You know what I mean? Like, let me just clear that out. You ain't got to worry about losing your job now because you didn't go win some $50,000 late model race. No, there wasn't no rumor that Kohler was about to get rid of him or anything. I'm just saying, whenever you win a race to that magnitude, you can free up a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, you can be a little loose and say, and roll into a flow night in America and just go lay it all out there and know that, confidence is high. We talk about it in this sport. Confidence is everything. And you go to a place like that's kind of 20RT style, right? The way that Shelby County is. And you go to Lincoln and that fits his style a little bit better. So, he definitely has turned the corner here in his 2026 campaign. And who knows? He might fire off about 10, 15 more wins. He might go on a hot streak. He might go win the PDC. He might go win the USA Nationals. Like, you never know in this sport. But I can tell you right now, up until Silver Dollar Nationals, they'll tell you it wasn't the greatest year ever. But after winning that, you can even tell in Burrow's voice. And then when they interviewed him, like that one felt good. That one felt really good for that camp. And once you start feeling good, and now you're confident in your team, you're confident in the driver, you're confident in the car, you can start clicking some off. And we might see that out of the 20RT camp. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, that was his first, super late model win with the Lucas Series since May the 1st at Circle City. So, and, that's his only fourth super late model win of the year. He has 13 total wins. So imagine that we're talking about Ricky Thornton Jr. as he washed. We're just joking when we say that, obviously. But, I mean, really to his standards and where he's been rolling, 20-plus Lucas wins, these last couple of years, the 2024 national champion on the tour. But, he still got 13 wins this year. And he won in an IMCA modified at Boone County last Tuesday. And then he won at Beatrice and the modifieds as well on the 13th. And he won in the stock cars as well. So he has won and 3 different styles of cars just in the last week. So he's still Ricky Thornton Jr., right? He just needs that confidence to get back up there in the late model program. But I promise you, he even kind of said something about, winning these other cars, kind of thinks he gave him some confidence back in the late model because he knows he can still win. He knows he can still do it. But to go out there and do it is a different thing, right? He finally had the car that he needed to be able to seal the deal and get the job done. So, hey, and I also want to give the support class divisions at the Silver Dollar Nationals a shout out. Dude, the hobby stocks, they put on some good racing. They kind of remind me of our Sportsters down here, right? I think they had 40-plus hobby stocks that they were on the main card on Saturday night. Of course, they had the modifieds there the nights prior and the stock cars. But, yeah, I just want to give a shout out. And their local announcer, or the announcer at Shelby County, Anthony Ainsley, I know we don't talk about other announcers here, or maybe I do, but he deserves some love, man. That dude really, really did a fine job announcing the support class divisions, and a guy that takes one to know one. I think he did a really, really good job calling the action there. So props to him for doing a job well done there. Man, hey, we got a back-to-back winner Anthony Macri joins a list of only 6 other drivers to ever win the Kings Royal back-to-back at Eldora Speedway in Rossburg, Ohio. Dude, Garrett Williamson looked like he was about to sail through his first ever World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car win, and he leads the most laps in the 43rd Annual Kings Royal, and a late race caution comes out, and they have to have an open red and everything. They're like, they had to refuel the cars late, and everybody in the crowd was like, oh, my God. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? But that's sprint cars for you. So anyway, dude, Anthony Macri gets the lead back. He's battling with Rico, try to get back up on the podium at one point. He steals the lead away from Williamson, so he has the lead after that open red. Williamson ended up fading to 6th, and man, he was heartbroken down there when Connor Wade talked to him post-race. But nonetheless, it was a great performance still for Garrett Williamson, driver of car number 23. And I think he's proven himself this year, right? He's a contender. To go to Eldora and to perform that way, with all the cards on the table, he played his best hand, and he just came up a little bit short. Not sure what would have happened if that caution comes out. Maybe Garrett Williamson wins this race, and we're having a totally different conversation. But Anthony Macri, just think about this, man. Anthony Macri has broken his back twice.
I was going to go there.
365 days. This man has broken his back, and in the time that he was out of the race car, we talked about it on this podcast. Casey Kane gets behind the wheel, and he wins his first ever World of Outlaws race in the National Open at Williams Grove in the Macri Motorsports 39M car. So when you saw that, you're like, okay, that's a really good race car. Like, yeah, that's why Macri. Yeah. But Macri comes back after breaking his back, sits out for 5 or 6 months, and it's like he's never lost a step, right? You wonder when you see drivers get injured, like Tyler Courtney, who also got injured at Eldora, Aaron Reitzel. You wonder what this affects in their mental focus, their mental mindset. Because, like, if it were me, Cortland, I would be scared that I'm going to go back out there and broke my back. But that's what makes these guys so great at what they do. They can compartmentalize and block all of that out, despite having sat out of the thing that they love most. Courtney sat out for over a year. Fortunately for Macri, he didn't have to have significant surgery this time, and everything kind of formed back the way it was supposed to. But just think about, man, what a hell of a return. And to win the Kings Royal 2 years in a row, the whole fans in the stands, there must have been a lot of PA Posse fans there because they were yelling, Posse, Posse. Like, it was, dude, It was an electric atmosphere. I was really proud to see that for Anthony Macri, man. He is an assassin behind the wheel of a race car.
You kind of took the main notes that I had for it. I thought he was going to leave me a little bit on the plate there to nibble off of, but I mean, just the story, breaks his back and able to return and go back to back in the Kings Royal. I mean, like, that's just it. The stories sometimes write themselves, right? Like, that's just sometimes just the way it happens, and it kind of goes back to what I said with Derek when like stories write themselves, and that's what racing. That's what we love about this sport is stuff like that can happen. But I'm just looking at this top 5. I'm kind of doing a top 5 breakdown again. You got Macri, you got Abreu. You got Giovanni Scelzi, Corey Day, Garrett Williamson. I'm not saying nobody wasn't expecting any of those dudes to be in the top 5, but there wouldn't have been many bingo cards that had them as the top 5. You got Macri, Abreu, Scelzi, Day, and Williamson. I know you got Abreu and Scelzi and Day. They're pretty stout, but who would have thought Anthony Macri really, truly would have went back to back? I know the car's good and everything else, but man, just the way he was able to do it. You break your back, like you said, Kane hops in it. That ride's fast, but man, that's absolutely, like, it's cool. And then, like you mentioned, the PA Posse deal, sitting up there hooping and hollering. The stands had to go absolutely ecstatic when you can hear that many people yelling Posse, Posse, right? So shout out to Anthony Macri, man, the concrete kid, right? Isn't that what they call him? Picks up, goes back to back at Eldora for the Kings Royal.
Dude, what about the 50-50? We talk about this all the time at Eldora. The 50-50 was $77,000 to win, dude. Can you imagine winning the 50-50 at Eldora? What would you do with $77,000? If you just won the 50-50 at Eldora, what's the first thing you're going to do with $77,000?
Shoot. Probably, Zach, I know what I'm doing. I got you, cuz.
All right.
I'm buying me a B-mod.
Okay.
I'm buying me a B-mod and Big Sexy's back wheeling.
Okay.
Huh?
You want a B-mod, huh?
Well, I mean, not that I couldn't go do a factory stock, but I go get a B-mod, and then the one or two times a year modified show will show up. I'll just go race go say I raced in the modified division. You know what I mean? Like, I go get a B-mod, run a couple laps. I love factory stocks. I love winning them, but those stock components, I hate messing with them lower control arms and trailing arms and all that stuff. You get the B-mod, it's a lot more open, easier to work on for an old fat boy. So that's my logic. If I won $77,000, we're gonna go buy a B-mod. We'll still be open trailer racing. We won't have that fancy of a trailer because that $77,000 might go to most of it, but Yeah, that's probably what we would do. I ain't gonna lie to you. We probably would go get a race car because I definitely got the itch after the couple weekends ago when I got back behind the wheels. Probably gonna go buy a B-Mod, call up old Jason and call up my buddy Mo, get us those shocks, and we'll get to digging.
Yeah, I've always wanted to see like have a fan on. I mean, I know you wouldn't know until it's announced, but man, it'd be cool to have a video camera on the fan who won just to see their initial reaction to winning that amount of money at a racetrack. It's we talk about our 50-50 the other night, right? I always have this little saying. It's like it's always nice to leave the racetrack with more money than you came with. Well, that's nice, even when it's like $285. I think ours the other night was what like. It was over 300.
432.
432.
432.
Yeah, not bad.
I think it was 4.
Yeah, to leave the track with 400 plus, but to leave the track with $77,000 is just my mind is just blows my mind. You know what I mean? Just blows my cap right off here. More sprint car news, ladies and gentlemen. How about Landon Crawley scoring his first career 410 sprint car win at Arrowhead with the Honest A Roofing Power Off 410 Sprint League on Friday night? Back and forth with Xavier Doney and car number 74 there. I want you fans, when y'all listen to this after the podcast, go search on Facebook. Just type in Landon Crawley /dirt up, or just dirt up close on the Facebook search bar, and you'll get to watch a badass 360 video. Dirt Up Close did one of these for Neil Kemp at Boot Hill last month, right? For his big win when he got KO'd there. He ended up coming back and finishing and winning the race. Yeah. But, man, that Dirt Up Close puts out some really, really cool videos. Like, you'll see a lot of the same type of videos, right? These three. But I'm telling you, that Dirt Up Close has got something really, really neat going on with how he conducts all of this stuff. But, man, I told y'all, and I truly don't just say this because of my connection, similar to when I worked at Lone Star Speedway, right, with Sam and Lisa Haferty. And I got to know Sam Haferty very well, right, over the years. So I worked at Lone Star for over 10 years. But, man, and of course I want to see Sam Haferty run well because of that connection. But, man, this kid, Landon Crawley, has taken his lumps, and I've known it from day one that he has talent, right? And I'm just happy for him. Like, he deserves this. He has really worked hard, and he's had to deal with the internet brigade and all their criticism when he's still just so young and learning, Cortland, right? Like, you know how important laps are. We talk about how important laps are in the super ranks, in factory stock. Even in B-Mod, you see drivers that are new and coming into the sport. Is like Braxton Galladay. We could see Braxton Galladay at Boot Hill this weekend. It was tangible. You could see his progression and how far he's come. The dude finished 7th in the passing points after our heat races Friday night at Boot Hill. And I went over there and I talked to him. I said, this is what you've been working hard for. No, you're not at number 1. You're not locked in. But Braxton, you're sitting 7th, man. Like, I was very proud of him because when you have new drivers come into the sport, they have to log the laps, Cortland. Like, you could want it as bad as you want it, but you still got to go out there. And some guys, you know, like Talon Willis, he'll go out there and he'll win his first career start at a place, right? And you're like, well, where the hell did this come from? You know, some people just might pick it up a little bit quicker than others at some places. But when you start off your racing career at 16 years old and you're off racing with the World of Outlaw sprint cars, you know what I mean? Like, that's what Landon got thrown to the fire of. But all of that experience has come around full circle and made him into where he is now and the driver that he is striving to be. He's not where he wants to be yet, but he's striving to get to where he wants to be. And just think about the pressure. Like, your dad's Tim Crawley. He's won many, you know, I want to say thousands, but hundreds of sprint car races all over the Mid-South, and everybody hears about the Crawl Daddy son. Here he comes, right? Well, I'm going to say he is graduated into the Crawl Dog now. That's my new nickname for Landon Crawley. He's the Crawl Dog. He's not the Crawl Puppy. He's graduated from a puppy. He's now a dog, and he's off the porch, son. Come on back. I'm proud of Landon Crawley. He earned a very big win at Arrowhead the other night in the 410 sprint car. And, you know, I'm rambling here. But you think back to when he was with the Outlaws, he went out and set quick time at Volusia, his first ever start with the Outlaws at Volusia, right? And everybody's like, oh, wow. Like, oh, wow. But that just adds to the pressure, right? And to me, that just adds to the pressure on him. But we've been able to see it, and I'm proud of him. Congratulations to Landon Crawley for getting a big-time 410 sprint car win. I'm not sure if you had a chance to watch it, but I know that you can respect and appreciate a driver starting to come into his own.
I haven't got to watch it any, but you mentioned, or we talked about it when we was leaving the press box there, that Landon Crawley won, you know, his Power Out 410 race. And I just want to go back to, like you said, just imagine there's not many people, and all these people, I'm not saying like you said, he dealt with the social media people that are sitting there hounding him saying he may not have been ready or this, that, and the other, whatever it may have been, right? Like imagine sending a 16, 17-year-old kid out on the World of Outlaws. Like there ain't many 16, 17-year-old kids you can send out there. And no, did he have the finishes and results you want to know? He'll probably be the first one to tell you, but at the end of the day, he was respectable out there. Like at the end of the day, he did a lot better than many other 16, 17-year-olds would do. So, like that at the end of the day, I'm not saying he's a kid because I'm very much one with the motto, even if whether they're under the age of 18, whether they're 14 to 15, 16, 17, whenever, your parents decide for you to wheel a race car, you're out there with men and you're going to be treated like a man, and you should have the same mindset of that. So I'm not saying give the kid no slack, but there's not many 16 or 17-year-olds that you could send out on the road and just be as respectable as he did, whether it was the finishes he wanted or not. But, to come out and win, I love it. I don't know Landon personally. I kind of know him a little bit through Tim, the couple times that go to 67 and worked up there and talked to him. That like they're all in. Like that's all they know is racing. And now I'm not saying you got to give the kid time to keep on showing us that he has speed, because he shows us year after year like he's got it. Like he's got talent. Like he's got talent. He's got it. But really excited him to pick up that win at Arrowhead.
He's a good kid too, man. He handles himself and carries himself very, very well as well. And Tim kind of scratches his head. He's like, I don't know where he got all that from. No, but they praised him well. He's a good kid, man. He really, really is. I was happy for that whole Beaver Motorsports 12X team. Also, some other news and notes here. Cade Dillard is on a roll. I don't want to say officially because he's been on one. He actually probably would have swept Batesville this weekend where the Comp Cam Super Dirt Series was, led 20-plus laps on Friday night before he got a flat tire late. He went to the back and rallied back to a fourth-place finish, and Mr. Smooth, Billy Moyer, picked up his 858th career win on Friday night. Cade Dillard came back and got him done on Saturday night. He continues to lead the points with the Comp Cam Super Dirt Series All-American Late Model Tour. Not sure if you have anything you want to add on Batesville. I know Mobags came home with a solid third-place finish there on Saturday night. I know we were in the pits at Boot Hill, kind of look. I don't know how you do this, but you could look into MRP. I was watching you. I had my phone in my hand. You were going back and forth, and you were trying to tell me, you were like, I can always tell if a track's taking rubber or not. You're like, no, didn't rubber. And you just continue to just press all over my screen. Yeah. I was like, what are you doing? You're like, my bad, cuz. Anyway, evidently, you can decipher whether a track rubber down or not just by looking at transponder times.
Yeah. It was Friday night. We're sitting over there, and you're like, and you walk up to me when I was standing over there with the K1, and we was working on some stuff, and you handed me that transponder. Well, when you go to live time and it says unofficial results, well, it then has best lap, positions gained, average lap time, and lap leaders. And I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you, you start fumbling through all of them, you can figure out a lot about the race with those little tabs and different stuff. So that's what I did with those ZC's phone there. I was going through, and obviously if it rubbers up and it's gained speed, lap times get better, right? So that was the first thing I was sitting there looking for. You said Billy Moyer won, RC Whitwell second, and Bags and Cade were, that was your four. And I started sitting there going like, well, what was the best lap, everybody? Then what was this? And that's just the My Race Pass tool is really, really cool. We talk about transponders working and it gets you spoiled. Well, not only is it the announcers and the scoring people, but crew guys and everybody else. I mean, you can go walk in a hot pit or the pit area of any race that has transponders, and I promise you there's hundreds of people that are sitting there staring at that phone while every lap is being made. I know at least I did in my little bit of time there. So you go through and you click best lap, and if the entire field's best lap was the last 5 laps of the race, well then you realize like it probably rubbered up and it was what it was, and then you go back and look at lap leaders and different stuff like that. But man, I was pumped up for my boy Mo on the 14M. He'll go ahead and tell you that it hadn't been the greatest year for him so far. He was running really good at 67 that one night, and MSD box went out on him. He was running like second or third that night, and then go to Batesville and get 2 top 3s. I love that Batesville Motor Speedway. I'm not going to lie. Like I mentioned, Topless 100, me and Dad always went up there all the time. And that's a place we even kind of talked about it, like why we love racing it and the exciting finishes. And we was talking to Valerie about working the infield, because old Valerie on the cam in the infield, she loves working the infield. And I told her, I said, the one infield experience that you got to have, anybody, go to Batesville, go to the Topless 100, go sit in the infield down the backstretch when they go green, and you can hear them fire up, getting into 3 out of 4. They go through 1, and when they come down that back straightaway at Batesville, 24 of the baddest late models in the world, about a solid 100, 110 maybe, and they go through 3 and 4 wide open. Like standing in that infield, there's no better feeling. So I know I kind of went on a ramble there about Batesville for a second, but man, Cade Dillard just he's he's dominating that deal right now. It's going to be hard to beat. He led early Friday. I was really excited to see my boy Billy Moyer Sr. pick up the win at AK Race Cars. That new pairing that they got going on. Even though it may have been gifted to him, the old saying is you're to rather be lucky than good any day of the week. So Billy Moyer picks one up Friday, and Kay finishes the job on Saturday. And yeah, the homie 14M come home with 2 top 3. So I was pumped up with him. He actually called me on Sunday, and we both digressed the weekends for each other. He told me how their weekend went, and then I told him what all went down at Boot Hill. So I'm happy for him to kind of bounce back here this week.
Is the Topless 100 co-sanctioned this year with the comp cams like it's been in the past, or it's not? Okay, no, my question to you was going to be, do you think Cade will show back up and run the Topless this year since he's not committed to a tour full time? I feel like he might, considering he's had some decent success there here in recent memory. But I feel like the 97, like, he might want to go back and turn the tide after that whole deal with him and Albertson last year, right? Like, what better way for the 97 to go back and win the Topless 100 after everybody gave him all that shit last year? You know what I mean? Like, what a way, really, to return. That would really turn the tide, wouldn't it?
I think it's a lot of guys. I think it's on a lot of guys' schedule around here for super late model races, because it's our one crown jewel that we still kind of have down here. When you look at these national tours, you look at Lucas and World of Outlaws, and Outlaws has definitely done a really good job now of stretching their schedule out and going, they're back at Magnolia. They come down to Boot Hill. But when you look at that Lucas schedule, I mean, once you leave Florida, and there ain't no coming to Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, like that's few and far between. So whenever a big national tour like that rolls in, and luckily now I feel like Boot Hill's a staple on the schedule with the World of Outlaws for our Bayou Classic, and I'm ecstatic about it. But if you're a super late model team and you're within a couple hours of here, like, you almost got to go. You know what I mean? It's the one chance that you have. It's the one of, or I should say, one of the 3 chances a year that you can go race for a $50,000 payday within 6 hours of the house, right? Or 6 to 8 hours of the house. So you almost got to go do it, but it all just depends. There ain't no telling what his schedule looks like. I mean, I know the 97 will find somewhere, somehow to go race, and I'm sure he would love to go pop up in there. Obviously they got a really good program there. They were really fast last year, and then go down there and have the weekend they had. I would be pretty excited to roll in there myself.
Yeah, all those years, though, you think about it, he couldn't run the race because he was committed with the World of Outlaws, and typically they were running on the same weekend, so he wasn't able to do it. But he did last year, and, of course, that deal with him and the 58 happened, and that's that. We don't want to beat the horse dead on that anymore than what it's already been done. So maybe the 97 can go out there and turn the tide and get him another crown jewel win. I think he'd be a factor. I really do. He's really, really good right now, but we haven't really seen him be able to flex his muscles and show it on the national stage this year, but that might be the place for the 97 to do it. He's had a really, really strong season. I think he's got 14 total wins on the year for him, so that's one more than RTJ has on the year, which, of course, he's got other wins in different divisions as well. Of course, Kate has some modified wins too, so they all add up towards the end of the year. Speaking of modified racing, right, how about the USMTS? 5 straight nights of USMTS action this past week. Of course, one of our locals, Talon Willis, we talked about it last week on the pod. As we were recording, we were talking about in real time.
Yeah.
He was leading the USMTS feature, trying to potentially become the youngest USMTS winner in history to take that from Ryan Gustin. However, that did not happen. Jim Chisholm got that win at Park Jefferson that night. Talon hit a skidder tire. I didn't make that very clear when I was recording the pod last week because I couldn't tell because we were recording, but he had hit a skidder tire. He didn't just spin out on his own. There was a reason why he spun out, unfortunately, for Talon there. He did show some strength and speed. He made the top 12 redraw again. One of those other 5 nights they raced. Clayton Wagaman. Well, we talk about the theme of first-time winners, right? All of last week we talked about Landon Crawley just got his first 410 win. How about the theme this week again? Two new first-time USMTS winners. How about Clayton Wagaman, one of the Wasota racers, gets one for Wasota Country at Princeton Speedway, and the very next night at Casino Speedway, Mike Stearns, former Wasota national champion, Mike Stearns gets his first career USMTS win, outdueled Jim Chisholm, and then to end the week, Brandon Davis goes back-to-back at Granite City and Ogilvie. And hey, how about this? We have a new USMTS points leader. Brandon Davis has taken over the points lead from Jim Chisholm, but he ain't got it by much. He's only got about 13 points. Tanner Mullins is only 56 back. Rodney Sanders is only 65 back. And keep this all in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that if Reese Solander hadn't surrendered the points lead, he'd still maybe be in the points lead, or he'd be right there in the thick of it, right? They got Fairmont, Winneshiek, and Mason City up next before the 3-day tango in Missouri that I'm very much looking forward to. The second annual Missouri Bull Ring Bash at Nevada on the 6th of next month. and then the 7th and 8th, the 17th annual Slick Miss Show Me Shootout with the USMTS. But dude, like you'd see the first two, you say Jim Chisholm and okay, Brandon Davis finally knocked down 2 doors to victory lane, but to see Wagaman and Mike Stearns get some wins, the USMTS is still rocking and rolling. 30-plus cars each night, all the way up North Country, baby. But how about that? 5 straight nights. Todd Staley said it was hotter than Hades, but they got her done.
My expert analysis is going to end after Park Jefferson and Casino because I haven't gone back and watched any of them. I'm going to go ahead and be honest with you. I watched them the first 2 nights. I love Mike Stearns and Jim Chisholm's battle, right? It was a really good one. But yeah, first time winners, Stearns and Wagaman knocking them off. And dude, the USMTS, man, I'm going to sound contradicting myself because I haven't gone back and watched it, but I will, man. Like that, they still put on phenomenal races night in and night out. Like that Park Jefferson race, you had talent out there leading early on, of course, made contact with that skidder tire, but dude, it's still very entertaining. And to know the points battle is that tight. I didn't go back and look at it before we started the show here tonight, but yeah, dude, like USMTS modifieds, man, there was something like I'm sure I've said it before. Little Cortland still gets excited because I remember the old Winter Nationals, and every year they roll down to Arklatex, whether it's February or November, and we'd have them for 3 or 4 nights, and then you had USMTS make their southern swing early in the years, and they go through Texas and work their way over here, man. So I love to see USMTS. Not like they ain't dead yet, you know what I mean? Like that, like there's still some good modified racers, and there's still some good modified action to be seen.
I missed those days, by the way. I missed the Winter Nationals.
Dude, those were some pretty cool.
I missed the February races in Vivian too. The Cajun Clash is what we called it. Presented by Horseshoe Casino. It even looked good. like you have Horseshoe Casino on as a title sponsor. It just looked like good shit. It was good shit too. Like we'd average
Horseshoe Casino had to sponsor because Todd Staley probably rode down there and put about 10 grand on black. You know what I mean? I don't know what Todd's gambling. I don't know what table he likes to sit up at, but I was just gonna craps table. Well, there you go. Look, I don't know nothing.
Yeah, I don't know crap either. I can tell you that. All right, man. Just about out of time here. What is on the RaceON airwaves this weekend? Of course, I will be Friday night at Texarkana for the Mean 15 presented by Gateway Bank. I'm really fired up and looking forward to getting back over there because we have the RaceON All-Star Challenge, and it's the Mike Parker Memorial. How cool is that? Because Justin passed it along. The Crawleys have taken over the Mike Parker. They did want to continue that on in Mike's memory. Of course, that because it's near and dear to Justin's heart. Justin Whitehead is looking to win his 6th straight at Texarkana on Friday night, but this time he's going to have a lot of company in there trying to take it from him for $1,500 to win for the Mike Parker. That's going to get fun and interesting, and I'll be at Rocket Raceway Park on Saturday. The All-Star Challenge goes to Arklatex, but I will be with the American Racer Modified Series at Rocket Raceway Park on Saturday night. What else is on the airwaves this weekend?
Lafayette County Speedway up there in Iowa. You talked about the RaceON All-Star Challenge at 67. Sabine Speedway's racing on Friday. Saturday, you got Makokata, Cotton Bowl, sprints at KSP. Route 66, I think there's going to be some non-wingers over there at the Route 66 Speedway. I think I seen that today. Tech Center Raceway Park, mods at Grayson County. Of course, All-Star Challenge rolls into Arklatex for their second night of their swing over here. Arms at Rocket, you hit on that, and RPM Speedway's racing this weekend. So, again, a plethora of races that you can watch on the RaceON platform, from sprint cars, modifieds, factory stock, All-Star Challenge. You got it here. What could you be mad about? I don't know. I said it the other day in the pit area when I was talking to a couple racers, and I'm not going to throw them under the bush with me, but I said all these people that complain about paying $40 and this one stream went down, I get it. I know you might be mad. That might be your little Jimmy cousin out there that was racing and you don't get to see him, but you got 48 other races you could go watch next week and this week, bud. I mean, a pit pass was $40 and you just got a pit pass to 15 events, or not even really a pit pass. You got a general admission pass, and those are $20 a piece. So I mean, like, I know I may be sounding like I'm defending old RaceON here, but bro, for the price that you pay for what you receive on the back end, you can't beat it with a stick.
That's right. When you put that in that perspective, it does make a lot of sense, doesn't it? Like, especially when it's listen, like I would love to see more. I get this whole argument all the time, and I'm not trying to go here right now to conclude this podcast, but I get it all the time. Oh, if they just weren't streaming, there'd be more people in the stands. It's like, do you think so, really though? Because it's 110 degrees outside, and I like the fact that we can offset the people that aren't in the stands. Like, listen, I would love to have a packed grandstand every weekend at every racetrack, but we know that that's probably not going to be the case every week. But at least the fact that I know that we can offset that, at least I know that people are sitting at home in their AC watching the races. We always appreciate the diehards who come out and bake like a cake in the sun, especially on a hot Greenwood, Louisiana Saturday night. But again, it is nice that we can offset that, and we know that people are still able to take in the races and watch them live on RaceOn, because not everybody can make it to the track every weekend. Though I do hear from people all the time that say, we just like watching it on RaceOn. Heck, Shane Swilly sponsors the event, right? Big Pines Lodge. Y'all go check them out. They're open on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They just sponsor the West Greasy Memorial. They have great food. It's over there on Caddo Lake near Texas State Park. Shameless plug there. They do not pay me, but it's fine. They do have good stuff. Y'all go check them. But yeah, he told me that he said, Zach, he told me after the race, he said, I think I got my feel for a little while. He said, I will see you at race. He said, I will hear you on RaceOn next week. We ain't coming. I said, all right, cuz it sounds good to me. You know what I mean? So I do like that we have the option. Like I always say, we want to be your number one alternative at RaceOn.com. But please come and support these racetracks, because when you come and support them live and in person, it makes a difference. And we appreciate everybody that does choose the alternative and watches the races online as well. It's nice to have, right? It's the 21st century. It's 2026. You got to evolve or you get left behind. And once again, I'm happy to do this podcast with you, man. Is there anything tonight? I feel like I rambled a lot tonight, but it's fine. I feel like that maybe every week. But is there anything that we didn't get to, or is there anything that you need to say that you wanted to say that I didn't let you get to say?
I feel like we probably got a lot of people that are listening to this, if they made it this far, are waiting to talk about this whole, I'm gonna say, like, whether kerfuffle debacle, whatever it is, with the Chatham getting canceled. And I'm just gonna come on here and I'm just gonna defend the guys that drove over there and supported that event. I'm defending the guys, and this ain't no racetrack bashing, because people think they're so quick to turn words and say this ain't racetrack bashing. I'm defending the guys that showed up and supported that event. And I'm not saying that they had to make it up and it still paid $10,000, but at least give those guys a chance to race. Like, there was more guys that drove over 2 hours to that event than probably that drove within 2 hours. That makes sense when you talk about a radius deal. And for those guys to come over there and essentially spend 2.5 days over there. And schedules couldn't do this. Schedules couldn't do that. Look, I'm not saying I get it. My dad promoted a racetrack in 2017. Times have changed a whole lot. I'm not even going to try to sit here and say I get it. I don't. I'm just going to sit here and defend the guys. And there's a lot of guys on there that are mad about it. And I 100% understand why, because they sit there and spent 2.5 days there, and the deal got swept out from under their feet. And is it the track's fault? No. Is it like, I mean, it's a messed up situation. But I'm just going to defend. I mean, I'm going to defend the racers. We talk about defending the racetracks and not bashing them, and I'm not bashing them on that point. I'm just saying some of these guys should at least get some opportunity to race for what they put 3 days in and invested their diesel, fuel, tires. And I know all that turns around on the racetrack too. They put in 3 days, and then they're talking about a $30,000 purse and this, that, and the other. Well, I want to turn that the other way and say, well, what if you made $100,000 on that race? Are you going to give the winner an extra $10,000 because you made $100,000? Like, that's a gamble that you take, right? Like, I'm not sitting here trying to dog on nobody. I'm not, because I'm thankful I showed up and paid 3 pit passes. Or I paid 3 pit passes. Me and the old lady, we did cheeseburgers. I donated $120 to that event in support of it. I was there Friday and I went and watched it. I just hate that this is the light it's going to get, because we talked it up and the support of it. Like, I just hate that this is the light that it's going to get. I guess I rambled on enough. And if somebody sends me a message before they got to this part, I just hate that this is the light that the event gets.
It's a bummer. It is a bummer. Like, I talked to several people. Hell, I talked to Matt Takewell on the phone, headed to Arklatex last weekend. And here's, like, I know nobody asked me my opinion on it, and nobody's asked, and it's already over and done with at this point. I think you have to try to find a way to make this happen. I saw that, we can't run it in November because hunters. It's like, well, like, it's one night. Like, the hunters will get over it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's one night. Like, we've got to find a way. And listen, I know the racetrack most definitely lost their ass on this event, right? 44 cars. We talked about that last week, how we wish more cars would have shown up. Well, now.
Because they ain't paid nothing out yet.
Exactly.
They ain't paid nothing out.
And I hate saying this because, man, I really think they're trying hard over there and they're trying to do the right thing. When I come in here and I said that you people need to go over there and figure it out for yourself, don't let anybody tell you. I put my neck on the line trying to support Super B last week, trying to say that it's not the same old Chatham. It's not. Because I've talked to the owner. And then they come out and they make this decision. And it kind of made me feel some type of way. I was like, man, like, you know, and I'm sure Matt, he'll hear this and he'll give me a call, and I'm not upset with anybody. And I know that RaceON on their side of the deal too.
No, I ain't mad.
I know you're not, but I've talked to Aaron Brungett on this, and they truly had a hard time finding a date. But I saw a lot of dates that they didn't want to run on Arklatex. Well, like this race was going to be ran originally.
On top of them?
They were racing on top of Arklatex the original night anyway. So I don't know. I digress. The decision's already been made, and I hate that they were in that position anyway, because Mother Nature's ruined it, so they were already up against it and at a loss. You know what I mean? To bring everybody there back, and you're probably only going to get the cars that are guaranteed to make it, so you're not bringing in any additional revenue or any additional pit pass money. And it sucks. But sometimes in this sport, you have to bite the bullet. And man, I don't know. But again, who am I? Who am I to tell a business owner how they should bite the bullet or how to? And so I'm not doing that, man. I'm not. I'm just playing devil's advocate and trying to look at it from a few different scenarios here. But again, everybody that's on social media that thinks they know how to do it better than somebody, y'all don't. You don't, because you're not the one making the decisions. It was not a decision that they made lightheartedly. It was one that they didn't want to have to make. It was one they didn't want to have to post. I do feel for them, but I do feel as if the race could have somehow, some way, man, like it's got to happen. After you get them there, like you said, for 2 days for practice, and they run 2 rounds of passing point heats, like Dustin Hennigan was going to start on the pole of this race for nothing now. Tommy Williams Jr. drove all the way from Mansfield, Texas, 4 hours for nothing, you know, and hey, that's the gamble we take as racers, and not everything goes exactly according to plan. Not everything goes according to plan, but like you said, I do empathize with the racers as well, but I also empathize with the racetrack, because this isn't the situation they wanted to find themselves in. So it all just sucks. It's a shitstorm, and it is what it is. Let's move on, folks, and let's try to make these RaceON All-Star Challenge races this weekend great as they can be. We just saw the factory stock race and how phenomenal it was at Boot Hill this past Friday and Saturday night. No reason to believe it can't be phenomenal. Hey, the Mike Parker last year, we had Keaton Atkinson barrel rolling down the front boulevard and knocking Dalton Faulkner's right rear off his 27 car. So anything's a possibility come Friday night. And, of course, the Mike Parker was the race of the year at Arklatex in 2023, right, with Dalton Faulkner and Bubba Jones, their photo finish. So a lot of great things to look forward to. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap on Clark After Dark this week. We've about an hour and 16 tonight. Thank you, Cortland Smith, for everything you do, big dog. And
yes, sir.
Be blessed and be a blessing, race fans. We'll see you at the dirt track.
Later.